Hi everyone, I hope everyone's okay. Right, I don't remember, just a bit of an update, and obviously a follow-up video from this update, doing some bits. Okay, going off the last video regards to the Aprilla, I was talking about ditching it because I've got other work to do. I'm just going to string it out a little bit longer on this before I just put it to one side and get on with my other work. And the reason is that I managed to get hold of some storage fuel, which is basically non-ethanol, unleaded fuel. This bike was designed to run on that. About a year later, ethanol was introduced into the UK, and the original E5, if you don't know, was 95 octane. Then about 2020, I think it was 2020, 21, something like that, E10 came out as the standard fuel, so that was 10% ethanol, and that had came as the standard fuel of 95 octane. The E5 then became 99 octane. So anyway, this bike is designed to run on 95 octane. So I got some non-ethanol fuel, and I flushed that through, and what I found now is that when I start up from cold, it virtually starts straight away. Put E5 in it, takes a few cranks for it to kick in. So I retune the carburetor, the mixture setting and everything, and yeah, it seems to be firing up. We're gonna do a cold start now. This will be about the third cold start I've done in about 3-4 days. No, 4 days since I've done so it's been 2 days since I last did the cold start. So I'm going to do a cold start now. The problem is obviously when you flirt it back to E5. Now I've heard people telling me that SO Ultimate E5 is actually non-ethanol, but I can't find any proof or evidence to prove that. Apparently when it first came out it said E0, and now it says E5 on the pump. I do believe some parts of the country E5 is ethanol free, but I found absolutely no evidence apart from AI fucking Google telling me, oh, it's ethanol free, but they don't supply any facts and figures. I have tried trawling on ESSO, and not got much joy at the moment. It even says my local Tesco's E5 is non-ethanol, which I don't buy that one for 1 minute. Anyway, because now I've got some actual non-ethanol fuel, which is used for two-stroke. The company I bought it from proper got my pants pulled down, but I could have got it cheaper. But at the moment this is just a test trial. If I do get that, I'd mix it with E5 anyway, just to dilute the ethanol a little bit, if there's ethanol in it. So I need to do a bit more research on that. Now, obviously with it being a two-stroke, you would never put this E10 in here. I have put E10 on here, but that was for a different reason, which you can find out on the other videos. So yeah, if I can find a technically marked E5 that's actually got no ethanol in it, and I've got documented proof that it hasn't got ethanol in it, then everything's happy. So okay, we're going to do a cold start on this, and let's just see how we go. Okay, with this, we're going to do a cold start. This has been 2 days since this had a cold start, but it's got the non-ethanol fuel in it. So the first thing is that what we're going to do is I'm going to turn it on, because this carburetor, this version of carb, actually has, you can see it, you can hardly see it, but right down at the bottom there's actually a heating element on this. Some of the other carbs, this is the VHST carb 28 Ventura, so yeah, they had a heating element on, but if you try and get a new heating element, it's like rocking those two. Anyway, There's bound to be someone who sells it anyway, even if you have to go to Italy. But surprisingly, if I buy stuff from Italy, Dell'Orto Carburettor, is it Dell'Oro? I can't pronounce the word. Anyway, it's Italian. Those who are in the know will know what I'm talking about. If I go and buy stuff direct from Italy, it's cheaper than buying it over here in the bloody UK. Some of the prices in the UK for bits for this car was unbelievable. Anyway, so our fuel is shut off. I've got temporary fuel, just put a bit more fuel in there. So I'm going to turn it on. Just let it reset. Just leave it on for a couple of seconds. Now normally I would pull the clutch lever in, but there's no switch on this, so technically you don't need to. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to bang, I'm just going to turn this off again, I'm going to bang a bit of cable tie on it, just to simulate me having two hands. It's in a bit. Okay, so I've got a cable tie on there now, simulating I've got two pairs of hands. I'm going to stick this back on again. Obviously when this is on, the heating element warms up a bit, so I'll just give it, because it is still quite cold. So, okay, fuel on. Choke set. Let's try. So my theory of a fuel issue is fine. However, I was getting a bit concerned because I thought that yeah, because I thought that crank seals might have an issue with the crank seals on this bike, and those that know two-strokes will know that the crankcase is actually a sealed area, because this is where your atomised fuel and air vapour gets swirled around the crankcase and then is through a port in the cylinder head, gets sucked into the cylinder and then is compressed and spark, and you get compression. If those crank seals are leaking, some of the classic telltale signs is if you're very, very smoky, hard to start and very, very smoky, you could probably find out that it's the crank seal that's on maybe the clutch side, which is where the oil is, so oil's getting sucked in. Or if you're really running a very, very lean mixture, that be coming from the oh god, what's it called? Not alternator. Well, we'll call it alternator. I can't remember the name of it. This is what happens when you get old. From the charging alternator side. It's not alternator, that's on cars. I can't remember the name of it now. It'll come to me. This is what happens when you get bloody old. Anyway, on that side, so air is actually getting sucked in, so which would make it leaner. I've got a suspicion that crank seals probably will want doing eventually, but the bike has done only just over 6,000. Let's just check on the speedo. Just check the mode button. Oh god. Just let us have a look. It's done 6,275 miles. These bikes are recommended to have a top end rebuild every 10,000 miles. So usually that means when you do that, it means taking the cylinder head off, barrel off, but on this, because it's a water cooled one, you have to drain a coolant and everything. And you would replace the coolant as well if you're going to do all that. However, it's only done 6,200 miles, but it's nearly 20 years old, and it has been stood, as far as my memory goes, a good 7-8 years and never ran. This is the first time, you know, since I've been doing work on a bike, this is the first time it's run for a bit. So if I was planning to keep the bike, then I'd say yes. If I was planning to keep it, I'll just drop the engine out, crack it open, replace the crank seals. Obviously check the big end bearing and everything, if that's all fine. Usually on the top end rebuild, you're talking small end bearing, piston and piston rings. At 10,000 miles, you probably would need to give the bore the cylinder a hone, but certainly on something a bit older, you might have to give it a bit of a hone. If you've got it out anyway, it's probably just worth just giving it a quick clean out. Yeah, so these have a top end rebuild every 10,000, so it's only got 6.2 on it. The new owner can do that when they take on the bike. Usually the people who buy these bikes are two-stroke enthusiasts. Very rare young kid will buy this, you know, someone on the CBT, because the insurance is just ridiculous for an Aprilla. It'll probably be at least 2 to 3 times more dearer than if you bought a cheap Chinese bike or a little Yamaha 125 or something. Yeah, so, and a lot of it is because the parts and everything are so expensive, so if someone did have an off on it, yeah, it cost them a lot of money to sort out. Anyway, I was amazed that started up first time, so let's get back to it and see where we go. Right, okay, well, let's have another go. So put the fuel back on, turn on, hold, give a couple of seconds for the heating element. Temperature, and then I'll come back to you. Yeah. Still waiting for it to warm up. I'll just get out of this noisy garage. Yeah, so I think off my last video update, God, this is pissing now. After my last video update, I talked about bleeding the brakes. I'll probably do that, even though when I check the moisture content in the brake fluid, it's fine. But I'll flush it through anyway. And I will video that before I move it to one side and get the other bike in to get some work cracked on that. Still a bit nippy and cold to start painting a fuel tank, but that's basically where we're up to on this now. I did talk about dropping the gearbox oil because it was in a bit of a state, and I put some fresh in, and that's been running around the engine for a bit because I've had it on a paddock stand, and and running it through the gears and everything, so that gear oil is flushed through the gearbox and everything now, so hopefully that'll be fine. But what I'll do is, because the state of the original gearbox oil, I'm going to drop that anyway, so it's a bit of extra video footage, so we can get around to that maybe today, but that'll probably be in another video. If I drop the gearbox oil, I'll just drop it and leave it overnight, let it drain right off, and then put the cap back on and top it up. So the bike's sounding okay. When I did the mixture screw, I'm old school. I had a Gunson colour tune unit, so you can actually see the flame burn when it's idling. So to me, I'm happy with that. I do have a gas exhaust analyzer, but we'll have to see how we go with that. There's no smoke coming out of it. Yeah, so we are going to put this away for a bit. I'm going to get it up to full operating temperature because it's idling slightly high, but with these 2-strokes, especially if we put it on E5, I'm not too fussed about it. Just let it come up to 3 bars on the unit, on the dash thing, on the dashboard. Does seem a bit ticking over. It's ticking over 1500. These should be ticking over about between 12 and 1400. But the adjustment on here is so sensitive. But there's no point adjusting it until it's fully warm. And the possibility is that when it's on its side stand, the idle might drop off a little bit. Not too bad about. But we'll just set it for the happy medium. Anyway, while that's ticking over, I'm just going to run this through the gears and get that gear oil swilling through as the engine warms up. Okay, right, what I've done now is I put like a 50-50 mix of unleaded and E5, so I'm going to see what that's like in a couple of days, or maybe tomorrow, see how that fires up. But what I am going to do is I'm going to check this brake fluid, give it another test, just to see what moisture contents in there. Okie dokie, right.